Welcome back, part two of the Find Your Joy Taster course with Louise Fletcher. I am doing part two, which of this assignment, which is making a second painting using anything that I love from the first piece, part one, but also allowing myself to use my normal tools and colors. So again, noticing what I love and what I don't. And so, this can be a transformation for a lot of people, because they'll find out that they like something that they didn't think they'd like before, and they can start to incorporate that into their practice, which is why, artists change, their work changes over time. So again, I have my just two brushes. I use a lot of brushes, but most of them are kind of like these cheap little square, what do they call, flat, brushes. And my Catalyst wedge, I use that a lot. I also use, and I might use it, another Catalyst wedge which has little notches on it, and then you can, draw it through the paint and make some lines. So that's always kind of satisfying. So I'm going to put these colors out, but also something that I liked from the last part of the exercise was using this yellow and using ultramarine blue. This was, I think this is called bismuth yellow. It's more of a primary, a cool yellow, whereas the Indian yellow is more, it's almost orange, it's much warmer. So the two yellows, and then I usually use the turquoise, but I've got the ultramarine that I used in the first episode. And then I have my cadmium red light, which I love that color. But recently I got this quinacridone red, and it's a beautiful color, and it's more transparent. So between the two, with the cad red is more opaque. So it's nice to have sort of an alternate, a different, something from the same family that does a different job, I guess you could say. So I've got all those colors here. I'm not going to put them all out right now, but I will put some. I'll start probably with my usual colors, and then as I go along, I guess, I will add the rest. So what I usually put down is blob yellow. I mean, this is a big piece of paper, so sort of have to put down quite a bit. And a lot of people use containers to, when they're doing a large painting, like a plastic container with a sealable lid. And I've mixed up some white. I like to mix up white because I use a lot of white. And then I just put a little bit of Indian yellow and yellow ochre in it. And it makes a nice creamy yellow, or white. Okay, so the turquoise, so we've got the three colors, and like I say, out of these three colors, you can make all kinds of colors, but we've got the backup ones here too. So we'll just put those aside. That's the yellow, red. Okay, so usually I start with a brush, but because this is such a large piece of paper, and I am just starting, it's not really necessary. Like, a brush is more for detail, unless you're going to use a great big huge brush. But something that I learned in part one is that I kind of like not using brushes and just using tools that have me have less control. Has more of an energetic feeling in the painting. Okay, so I've got some white here if I need it, and I'm going to use a palette knife just to mix up a couple of colors, because I don't like to use them right out of the, saturated right out of the tube. So I often will go some cad red and some yellow, which gives a beautiful, like, bright, warm orange. And it's usually mostly yellow and not much red. I mean, it's very similar to the red, but I can just keep adding little yellow to that. So that's going to be basically kind of looks like orange, and maybe that's why I like these colors, because turquoise and orange and blue are super complementary and look really good together. So I'm just going to leave that for now. I'm going to get another palette knife. And again, I'm going to, you know, if I feel there's an opportunity, I'm going to use the palette knife. So I'm just moving this blue out here, this turquoise, and I'm just going to see what happens if I put a little bit of yellow with it. Usually it's quite a, I don't know what you call it, like sap green, or it's pretty, I don't really like it that much. So I'm going to put some more yellow. I might end up, you know, adding a bit of this to the yellow, and that way I'm not like, because this is so dark and this is so much lighter. And then again, just put the whole thing in there because, oh, now it looks quite putrid. So I don't know if I like that. But if I'm thinking I might not like something, then it's time to put a bit of white in it. Now with another palette knife, I'm going palette knife crazy today. I'm just going to see what happens when I put a bit of white in there. And it'll change the value as well. It'll make it a little bit lighter. Now I like that better, but it still is kind of a, I don't know, guacamole. Okay, it's actually a pretty cool color. Not cool as in temperature, but I like it now. Okay, so, and we're not going to get into values and all that. I'm just talking about colors I usually use. I'm not making a painting, but I just want to go with the colors idea. So we've got this green, we've got this orange, and I might actually just add some white to that. I might just put some white on here so we've got something to work with. The great thing about putting paint in containers is you get less precious about it because it's a larger amount than just squeezing out a bit. I mean, I got a lot of paint here, and this paper is going to be saturated. So you see what happens? Like, that's the turquoise with white. And it's kind of like, what's the word? It's a bit, I think it's a bit cool. Cool as in temperature. I think I like it when I dull down something a bit. So if you take the complementary to the color that you have, so this is being blue, and you add a little bit of orange to it, which I'm just going to flick in. I didn't want too much, and then it's going to mute it down. If you use the complementary color with it, it'll just give it a nice see how that looks? It brings a gray in almost when you mix two complementaries. That I like. Okay, so I like that. So I'm really liking what I'm, so now again, it's not about making a painting, but I'm just doing what I like normally. So I don't know what the painting's going to look like, and that doesn't matter because that's not the focus of this exercise, but get that. So let's just get some of this paint on here. I'm going to start with this. I have no reason why. And I'm just going to like really using the palette knife and just putting a lot of paint on. Again, if this wasn't paper, you know, if I was painting on wood, which I prefer, then you've got full range of, you can use as much paint as you want, you know, just to, that just feels really good. So that's, and then I'm just going to bring a little bit of green in, and it's wet, so sometimes, you know, like, if I wanted to get a nice layer effect, I would probably wait till the glue dried, but it kind of mixes in with the color. And I'm just playing with scraping it to see how it lifts. You know, I'm really still learning a lot about acrylic paint and how it's different times of dryness that it acts differently. I like lines. Can you tell? Let's get some more over here. I just basically want to cover this up. Now what I don't like when we did in the first exercise is making the paint all mush together and it loses its freshness and everything. That's what I don't prefer. So I'm trying to just smooth it out a bit. So now this is going to make a big impact because this is a darker value, and I'm just going to like so excited as to what this is going to look like. I'm just like, whoa, I like that. I really like that. Just how it spreads on the paper against the white, and it's balanced. No, we're not making a painting. Right. Okay. Right. I keep forgetting. It's a constant reminder. Now I'm just seeing what that looks like. Oh, that feels really good. See how you can see the layer below if you scrape it. I really like that a lot. So I'd like to do more of that. So I like those two little dots there, so I'm going to leave them there. Just seeing, maybe I'm just going to, I just want to scrape this over the layers. It's sort of drying, and it shows up. Now, where's my catalyst wedge? The wedge is better because it's wider, and I have a little more control. See how that looks? Oh my God, that is so cool. I mean, beautiful sort of background, if you want to use that word, but just a good start to getting some paint down. Ooh, yeah. And then you can, you know, I didn't know when I was going to do that. I didn't really want that, but now I'm letting go of this dot just to see what it looks like mushed in. A little bit of white on the paper. Okay, now I can, and this is often what I do, is I use the catalyst wedge like right from the palette, and you can see I got like a lot of blue paint. I'm just mixing that in a little bit with the lighter paint. I'm just going to take a bit of that green to sort of harmonize. Now, because this is up here, I can pull it down over the green. Oh yeah, that's so cool. And then that pulled that red out a bit. Now, if I keep doing this, I'm going to end up with another hot mess because all the paint's pretty wet. So I'm going to kill some time by using the end of a paintbrush and just start seeing where I can scrape in. This is how I normally work. I just like the lines going through the paint. I really do. Sometimes it looks goofy and other times it looks really cool. So you just have to sort of obliterate the ones that you don't like and keep the ones that you do. But you can never be at a loss with too many lines. See this? Oh, that was, I thought it'd be too dry, that orange. So that looks cool. Kind of going with it, not being careful is like so I'm really going crazy now with the lines, but I'm going to get rid of some of them. I'm just going to stick with the wedge for now. So you can just kind of obliterate the lines where you don't really want, you don't want it to just look like it, you know, scraped over the whole painting just like I did. I like the look of things coming and going, that sort of sense, and this feels so good. I just love the feeling of this paint, and it feels so free because it's not precious. This is just a dollar store piece of poster board, and I'm not, you know, this isn't a painting. I don't have to worry about what it looks like, you know, so it's going to sell or not or anything like that. It's just fun. And you know, I would like to just keep painting like this, even when it is, you know, even when I do have you know, have invested in more expensive materials, like just pretend it's a piece of paper and then it'll feel good. And then I think you can't lose then. Don't like that line. Oh, this feels really, I like this. I don't know, I don't think you can make this same thing more than once. That's a great thing about art. Okay, okay, let's dip into this. I'm just not cleaning this at all because I just want it to be sort of harmonious. Now, normally I do things that are kind of like, this is square and I like very lined up. So I'm trying to get away from that and be a little more free and just don't like that. So if you don't like it, like when you scrape it off, it's still kind of there, but it's different. So then you can decide if you can't get rid of it completely because it's sort of on the paper. But that's all muddy looking and not feeling that great about that. But anyway, you know, just keep going. I'll put a bit of that up here. Just make some lines into that yellow. I like that. I like how that looks. That yellow, or this is green, but it's got a lot of yellow in it. And it's very, really like that color, actually. So that's made with the yellow I don't usually use. So there's something to learn. Just scrape over that, and then if you want to, see now I scraped too hard, so it lifted the orange too. So these are just little, and not to say that, oh, now I know it, and it's now the next time it'll be fine. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, of course, the longer you do this, the more you know what works for you, but you can't get too, you have to stay humble with the process because you only have so much control. And now so I'm trying to get rid of this, okay, I'm making it into a painting. I just can't help it. It just keeps coming back to me. It's hard to let go of that, but I don't think that's the worst thing. Is that the worst thing, Louise? To actually feel like, oh, you're making it a painting again. That's okay. Okay, it looks very blue now, so. But, you know, like I say, you can let this dry. Oh, that wedge is just so gummed up. Maybe, where's the one? Where's this little one? I need like something different. So I'm hoping there's some place that has wet enough paint that when I scrape this, it's going to make lines. But I don't know. And, oh, there. That's kind of cool. Liking that. I love how that looks. Now you can see those layers underneath. It just gives you a little peekaboo with this tool. And just try the blue. Okay, so that's, the values are not as contrast there, so that's a little more subtle, but that's okay. It's good to have it. And then just a little short one. I like to sort of, you know, kind of echo the same or similar pattern throughout, so it doesn't look too disjointed. Well, if I was making a painting, I'm kind of liking this. But really, I'm just having fun. I think this is a great approach, and I'm gonna really make an effort to focus on not making a painting and just having fun. And oh, don't like that. I'm just mixing. Now I see I put a bit of that green in with this red, and red and green are complementary colors, and now it's turning into like mud. What I really need is some more Indian yellow to, and I haven't added those any other colors yet, so that maybe that could be the next layer. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to keep that sort of brightness of the cad red and the Indian yellow. Here's a nice blob. Oh yes. So I want to sort of kind of like layer that, put something kind of like, knowing that I've got this other color. Sorry, I'm back to making a painting again, but Oh my God, that's too red. I'm just gonna put that right on the paper. And my wedge is completely filthy, but I've got my hands full, so maybe I will wipe it off. It's a little drastic. Just grab a paper towel. Okay, that's a lot of paint. And now, because, I mean, there's a lot of paint on here, I could just like take this and put it somewhere, you know, and just make a little imprint for, you know, something kind of different. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you could even almost make collage out of your paper towels. Okay, so I'm just kind of mixing this a little bit on the paper. This poor paper is like, oh my God, I can't take it. Make me so wet. Okay, now I'm just lightly, because there's so much paint. Oh, I know what I could use. I'm just gonna put this a little bit because there's just so much on here. Squish it off. So that looks cool, just that. I'm just gonna put that in the water. So this is too much paint. I kind of like to show the layers because it makes me, you know, gives me joy. So crazy as it is, I'm just gonna roll some of this off, and just for the effect, I just want to see. Okay, so I kind of like that. Now, if I was working with wood again, oh, and look, there's paint on here that I can use. Let's just use that then. No, that's going the wrong way. I want to go this way. And it kind of makes like a ghost image because there's not much paint on the paper towel. Like that. I like that a lot. Okay, I'm going to just take a little bit of this off too. This also helps the paper dry faster. That's gonna. So fun. Now I've kind of obliterated that, but you can still see that there's something behind there. Like these layers. Look at that for collage. Crazy. I'm just going to take that off because it's going to end up sticking to the rest of the paper's towel. And sometimes I actually do keep the paper towel and use it for collage. So let's keep that there. Now, I kind of lost all my lines, so maybe I'll just put some lines in. And sometimes the lines that you put in before, they'll like fill in with paint, or they just look different. Oh, here's some here. So that was saved from the last. Oh yeah, and those ones. Okay, so that's probably good. I did like those ones too. Now the paint's too dry. It's just fun to try different things. I mean, it's so simple. Let's make it thicker. And, you know, sometimes I don't like the whole thing, so just kind of obliterate part of that, because I'll use this. It's got paint on it. I like that. So just, I'm beginning to learn that I'm really enjoying the process of uncertainty. That I guess that's where the curiosity comes in. Yeah. So this is kind of, okay, now I'm making a mess. Mess. Don't like that. So I could kind of wipe it off, but not really. I mean, it looks better if it's not blobbed on there. Something different. The other thing I like, again, if I was using wood, is, oh, I don't see it. Maybe I won't use it. Is my spray bottle. I can't see it. But even just water from your hand if the paint is a little bit damp, but not completely wet, and sometimes this is just always an experiment because you never really know what you're going to get, I just flick a bit of water on it in places where you know, like there's going to be something behind there, and then give it a second, just kind of soak in a little bit, and then just roll it off, and the parts where it's been touched with water are going to lift, and it's, oh, that's awesome. But I never know if it's going to work. So that gives it a whole different kind of texture that is great for layering. Let's use another. Yeah, and this, you know, I'm very inspired by nature in general in my work, even though I'm an abstract painter. But things like that look like maybe something in the sea or something, or lichen, or, you know, that all, because I really pay attention to all that kind of stuff. I like how that kind of looks. So sort of like grunge, I guess you could say. Anyway, I blabbed your ear off, and I just wanted to get across, you know, some of the ideas that Louise is using in her course, and I would highly recommend it. I've taken her 8-week course. This year it's 12 weeks, and I'm just like, I just want to take it, but it won't be happening for me. So we will see you next time.